Okay, talk to me, people. Now, any questions, people? Sweethearts, any
Yeah,
questions?
I have a question.
Good.
What is the best method to transform guilt, get rid of it?
What I said. You deconstruct the thoughts of guilt. You have to see what guilt is saying. So guilt is saying, when you see I did bad things, you over-exaggerate your badness and paint the picture of I'm a bad person, and you conclude I am bad. You change the thoughts. There's no secret. It's like even the subtlest Lindas is so primordial, it's still thoughts. It's the habit of thoughts built up. So guilt is this thought, I'm a bad person, isn't it? I shouldn't have done that. Then you simply change the thoughts. That's exactly what I said with regret. You're reprogramming your thoughts, Mark. It doesn't work overnight, darling. You've got to argue with it. You say, no, I did do that action. Then not I'm a bad person. But what can I do about it? It doesn't define me. That's how you change guilt. But it's not overnight, sweetheart. This is a primordially deep habit. So it's cognitive therapy, and I'm really not joking. You're changing your thoughts, and then that goes deeper and deeper and deeper and cuts at the deepest level. We've got to start where we are, which is at the level of thoughts. Because guilt is
I'm asking because I know, like, from my own personal history, I was even being told to feel guilty about things I haven't done. You know,
no, I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean?
German history, for example.
You mean as a German person, because you identify with being German? No, and that's very common, isn't it? So like Americans feel bad about being Americans now, so they say they're Canadian. Okay, you guys are worse because you killed all those people, apparently. That's true. No, but that's insane, isn't it? That's rather demented, isn't it? It's very bizarre, in fact. But we do tend to identify as a group, don't we? We do tend to identify as people who are Tibetans identify as Tibetans. Germans identify as German. So then, of course, you take it on yourself as if you did something that's completely meaningless. You didn't do anything. You weren't even born. It's a bizarre idea. But if you buy into the view and agree with what they did, then yes, you are responsible. But you see, the guilt here, there's a very grand level. It's more like a grand scale. The level we're discussing here is individual.
Yeah.
Individual. I mean, even at that time, if you were a little German boy in 1944 and you had, you didn't know anything about anything, you were not conscious, then even then it is bizarre to think that you did anything wrong, because the definition of doing something right or wrong is the thought that starts. So if you're there as an 8-year-old with a tendency to be a Nazi, that's how come you're born there, and you agree with that philosophy, then indeed you have created negative karma. You mightn't have killed that Jew yourself, but not the grand scale, the way we talk in the modern world, not historical level, but individual level. If you buy into that action, then there's a karmic seed definitely sown in your mind. But if you didn't, then even if you were born in the middle of the war, even if you were in the army, even if you were a German soldier, but you were only wanting to help the sick people, you still can't say you were responsible. It's a very bizarre idea that a group of people can be responsible as if there's a group consciousness. That's meaningless. It's individuals playing a role, and the individual has to take responsibility for their individual role in it. Do you understand?
Yes.
You've got to be very conscious about this. It's easy for us to identify with a certain group. Like, if you're white. And so this is also an interesting point, like, the whole business of white privilege people talk about, or even male privilege, the whole business of male and female. It's like male privilege, that because you're a man, you're naturally treated more respectfully, and then, you have more power, more self-confidence. So then you don't consciously think you're better, but you do benefit from that every day. So the same with like white. You have white privilege. The fact that I'm white and I can travel around the world, I can tell you I've not had so many experiences that I would have had if I were black, let's say. So that is, so not to feel guilty about, it's foolish to feel guilty about that. Due to my past karma, I'm born in the group that's considered respectful. I didn't do that. I was born in this group. If one day it's better to be born black than not white, then you get born as a black person. So whatever the view of the world is, so I can recognize I benefit from white privilege, so I'll be humble and compassionate and accountable for that. But at the same time, I created the cause for anything to happen and to not be seen in suspicious ways, to not be seen as black or whatever. But equally, I created the cause to be female. I mean, nobody wants to not go out at night because they're scared of a woman attacking them. It's like a joke. It's always men who do the attacking, So that when we own our own personal karma, then we can be much more accountable and more reasonable, I'm just chatting away here, Mark. Are we communicating?
We are.
Okay, good. What else, people? Sarah, yes, you have a
question. Sarah,
please tell me.
Hi.
Hello, sweetheart.
Hello. Just a quick question. In terms of antidotes, are they always they're always opposite?
Well, I
Like
think in general, wouldn't you think so? I mean, in other words, if you're playing the piano and you played a wrong note, first you have to acknowledge you played the wrong note. Then you look at the music and you check what the right note is, and so the antidote is to play the right note. Pretty much, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So an obvious antidote, I mean, the direct antidote to killing is to stop trying killing. The direct antidote to killing would be we also say to save lives. Or the direct antidote to lying is to try and tell the truth, or at least, so there's either tell the truth or at least not lie. Both of those are antidotes, aren't they?
Okay, so there's different levels.
Of course there are. Exactly, darling, exactly. And it's all, and again, it all comes down to the mind, knowing them.
Makes
seeing
sense.
The mind. Yeah, exactly. You're reprogramming your mind. Thank you, Sarah. What else?
Thank you.
What else, sweethearts?
I just got a quick one.
Good, Connor. Good on you.
I've just got a quick question.
Good,
again.
sweetheart. Go.
It's just you mentioned a few books today and yesterday.
Yes.
Would you be able to make a wee list of them and send us out?
I will do that. I'll just tell you a couple now. There's one I will do that. I'll tell you now. Then I'll recommend a few, and then Margot can send to you. But one of them, I mean, I can send a list to Margot, and she can write it on the things, and you can check it out. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, that'll be sound. Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Good,
Cheers.
Stephen. Very good. Okay, darling. What else, people? Any questions before we finish? 10 minutes to go. No questions? So basically we've done pretty much, there's these different levels of practice. In the Lamb Room, this is called the least capability, the scope, lower scope, or I call it junior school. It's dealing with mainly with your behavior. Mainly you're trying to harness the servants of your mind, your body and your speech. This is actually an enormous level of practice, enormous level. We don't kind of consider it so important, but it's really huge. And it's a cause of... I mean, speech for us. We might not be rapists and murderers, but speech is our big problem, isn't it? Speech is fascinating. And this also comes from thoughts. So the more let's say you're mad at your husband, and he might be a creep. He might well be a creep. I'm not saying he's not. But you think about this, the more you talk about him behind his back to your husband, to your children, to your sister, to your mummy, to your therapist, you kind of go on and on about his bad qualities. Isn't it obvious that you're reinforcing this bad picture of bad husband, It's sort of obvious. But so the mind is the first thing, the anger, and then it's reinforced by the speech. And as soon as it becomes speech, it becomes much more powerful, Speech is something that's very surprising. I think we don't often think. But speech is unbelievably powerful. I always use the example of my own family. We're not saints. I'm not even pretending to think that we're saints. But I've got 6 siblings, right? 6 sisters, 5 sisters and a brother. We're all very close in age, all very volatile and good. I mean, all good people. They're all good people, live with good ethics, help people, but they're normal human beings, right? So as little girls, we'd all fight and scream and shout and yell, naturally, because we're all close together. My mother and father had so many babies so quickly. She had 8 and 9 years or something. We had no money. We were always poor, sharing beds. So very volatile. We're all volatile. I was angry and a bully, shouting and yelling and screaming at each other. So as we got older, we all left home. And then you come together at Christmas and whatever, and you fight inevitably, but there's a bond between us. But still, you look at speech, the moment it gets out the mouth, it's something so absolute. It's too late. You can't take it back. And even with fighting with people, at some point, there'll be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because it's there, the burden, the words that she said, you can't not hear them. Speech is unbelievably powerful. We think it's like nothing, and we have no control over our speech. Even when it comes, this is an interesting point, but even when it comes, not saying Linda does this, but even when it comes to ourself, we as soon as someone says, "How are you, Robina?" if we've got no control, we'll just launch into, "I'm this and I'm that and I'm hopeless, I'm no good, I can't bear it, I'm saying life's a disaster." We just reinforce it like 1,000,000 pounds of concrete, So now, not speaking bad words, we only think the option is to repress. We've got 2 options in our culture: vomit it all out or live in denial. This is the 3rd option. We control our speech. We discipline the speech, knowing the harm that it causes us and the harm it causes others. And then, but you don't suppress. You become your own therapist. So when you can really learn to do this, let's say my husband just left me. And I haven't seen Linda for 10 years. And I'm devastated at the pain. And Linda doesn't know this. She knows nothing. Hi, Robina. How are you, darling? Now, if I'm not working on my mind, if I'm overwhelmed by misery, I will vomit everything out to poor Linda. The moment she asks the question, she'll release this tirade of unhappiness and despair. I'll be weeping, on the street. But if I'm working on my mind, I will say to Linda, I'm very well, darling. How are you? She need never know what's going on in my life because you're learning to hold your own emotions. You don't vomit everything out of your mouth. So my family, over the years, I love all my family. We'd always be fighting. And even now you can see the tendency very easily to argue. Well, we've got very strong minds. We've got opinions about things. But we've got this conscious, unbroken, unspoken kind of agreement pretty much now that when we're together, we do not talk about things we disagree on. So we have harmony. We just control our speech. And when we talk to each other, which is very common with sisters and siblings, the typical one is when I talk to Polly, I criticise Janet. When I talk to Julie, she criticises Judy. And we all go round and round in circles, all bad-mouthing each other. That's poison. So we do not say bad words about each other to each other. Now, all I can tell you, we're not saints, but it's sort of like, and it catches on, the seven of us. So there's this harmony between us now. There's kindness and sweetness. It doesn't mean we haven't got problems, but just controlling the speech is like a miracle. Even the speech about yourself. This is a huge one. Because we feel we can't contain it. We have to vomit it out to somebody because we don't know what to do with the thoughts. But when we start to practice, but not saying the words, by having a good behavior, it's not sneaking, it's not going behind backs, it's not pretending. It's realizing our behavior. This is the bodhisattva path. Our behavior is what other people see. Do what's appropriate for that person, not just vomit out our own feelings. Have a therapist, yes. Do what you like. Have a beloved friend you talk to work it out. But speech is unbelievably powerful. For our own benefit. Forget about others, So body and speech is the one of karma, purification, and your mind, of course. Then you get to high school, next level. Now we've got some subdued body and speech. We can now go deeper into the root of the problem, the attachment and the aversion and the delusions. Become intimately familiar with our mind, know what's there, what to label them, what they are, what they're saying, what their voices are, all these roommates. Learn to become intimately familiar with our roommates. Make friends with our roommates. The bad ones and the good ones. Have more wisdom, Reconfigure our mind. Rewrite scripts. I'm not joking. It's cognitive therapy to the subtlest degree. That'll do for today. What do you think, Margot? Enough? There we go.
Can be, yes. We are getting towards the end of our session.
Okay, good. So let's leave it like that. Let's do a 3-minute meditation. And this is beginnings of Mahamudra. Maybe we'll talk about this tomorrow. We'll see. The beginnings of Mahamudra. Mahamudra is this fancy word that just refers to the two modes of meditation, concentration and insight. And the thing is, we're trying to get insight is into emptiness. So we'll just start with the first mode, which is concentration. And instead of watching your breath, in this meditation, you simply watch the thoughts. It feels more weird in the beginning, but just do it. Relax. Just be very natural. Close your eyes. Get your body comfy. And then now, with strong determination, we are going to pay attention to whatever pops up in your ridiculous mind. Don't force it. Don't analyze it. Don't argue with it. Don't label it. Just see if you can just watch the thoughts. Let them come and let them go. And it maybe feels a bit weird. Don't worry about it. And focus. Have strong attention. For 3 minutes, do not be distracted. Just pay attention to your thoughts. Just keep your mind focused. Just pay attention to the thoughts. Let them come and go. Don't space out. Just watch. Don't engage in them. Step back. Okay, relax. It's about 2.5 minutes. It's kind of interesting, this one, because you get confused and you can't see any thoughts. It feels like weird, you know. But it's a really nice one. And that's just the beginning. Well, maybe we'll talk about this tomorrow. I might read from Lama to get you excited about your potential. But our mind is this miracle. Our mind has got amazing potential to be clear. There's a potential. It's there. We don't talk about this about the brain. It's not the brain we're discussing. We're discussing our cognitive process itself. So even just to do this one, just to watch. It's like talking to Linda about the roommates. You know, the angry roommates or the depressed roommates, and even though they feel very entrenched, they loom large for us. But it's a bit like the roommates next door. You just decide you're going to listen to the sound with no opinion, no viewpoint, no anger, no resentment. Just listen. Just observe without comment. It's very tasty. It's very tasty to do that. So here we're discussing the thoughts in your mind and let them arise and just watch them passing, but you stay focused. You don't engage in the thoughts. That's what we tend to do. We engage in the thought. Before we know we're having this long conversation, you try to step back and just pay attention. Pay attention. Let the thoughts come. Let the thoughts go. You know, it's very, very helpful. With no expectations of having a nice, quiet mind. Don't worry about that. I mean, if you're watching, listen to the loud screaming kids next door. You're not hoping they'll go away. Then you're a mess. Just let them scream and you just listen. Just without comment. It's quite powerful. Because we don't realize we're commenting all the time. And that's why we get distressed. So Linda's head might be full of depression, but it's her opinion about it that it shouldn't be there. Her opinion about it that she's bad. Her opinion about it that the depression is bad. You get my point, Linda? Are you hearing me? That the extra comments are the problem. So you've got these roommates in you, just watch them, listen to them. No comment. That's so tasty, I tell you, for all of us. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Hopefully we haven't died. And if you do, then die with a happy mind, please, and get another human rebirth so you can keep on moving. We might meet again. Jangchob Semchog Rinpoche, Ma Kie Panam Kie Guchig, Kie Panyam Pa Me Pa Yang Gong Ne Gong Du Paba Shog, Gewa Di Nudo Dag, Lama Sange Drubgyo Ne, Drowa Chikyang Malu Pa, Dei Sala Go Pa Shog. First one is like make compassion grow and grow and grow, bodhicitta. Second one is the seeds we've planted this last 3 hours, every one of them, may they ripen in the future, may we nourish them with our effort, so that they will grow as our Buddhahood, no matter how long it takes, so we will be capable of benefiting all suffering sentient beings. That's it. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Margot. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Katerina. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Catherine. Everybody. All right? Much, much love. See some of you tomorrow.
Thank you, Venerable Robina. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, darlings.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Very much.